All right, guys, today we are going to go over Act 4 of Cyrano de Bergerac by Edmond Rostand. Quick recap from what we learned in Act 3. Couple things that you have to remember. One, Christian and Roxanne were married. Ooh. And two, when De Guiche finds out that they were married, he gets angry and he ends up going back on his promise to Roxanne and sends Cyrano and Christian's guard off to war anyway. Right? And that's where we open up Act 4, is they're at the battlefield of Arras. And before anybody even starts talking, there are just soldiers lying around all over the place. They're starving, they're miserable, right? They don't have any food or water. And it just shows just how rough this battle has been on this group of cadets. And then Cyrano comes in, and Cyrano had just delivered a letter to the post office for Roxanne, and he has been going every morning through enemy lines to deliver these love letters, right? And the guys kind of give him crap, right? Because they're like, you're doing this for Christian? Like, that's weird. But he kind of blows him off and is like, yeah, whatever. I promised I would make sure he wrote every day. So his captain comes over and is like, Cyrano, the guys are feeling really, really rough. Like, I'm worried that they're going to mutiny and decide not to fight anymore. Like, can you talk to them and kind of boost morale, cheer them up a bit, right? And so Cyrano is like, sure, yeah, whatever, I can do that. And so he gives this really beautiful speech to kind of pep the guys up, and it works. It helps them forget about how hungry they are for a while. And then as they're kind of laughing amongst each other, De Guiche shows up. And Cyrano's like, all right, act busy, guys, because the cadets don't really like De Guiche. And you're about to find out why. So De Guiche shows up, and he's bragging about this battle that he won yesterday, right? Allegedly. And he says that the way he won this battle was by taking his officer's feather out of his hat and pretending like he was just a regular soldier, and that gave him the advantage to kind of like take some of these Spanish guys down. And Cyrano kind of gives him crap, like somebody with true courage would never take out their officer's feather, right? Because that's cowardly. For those of you who don't know, officers were targeted in battles, right? Of course, you want to take out the leaders. So by taking his feather out, De Guiche was kind of making sure that he wasn't a giant target. So it was really kind of cowardly. And Cyrano's like, I would wear that feather into our next battle if you don't want to. I wouldn't take it out of my hat. And De Guiche says, oh yeah, you're only saying that because it's on the battlefield. And Cyrano actually pulls out the feather from his pocket and is like, actually, I have it right here. And so, of course, De Guiche gets upset, and he's like, he grabs the feather and he waves it around, and he's like, well, I just gave the signal to the Spanish, and so we will be in battle in an hour. And essentially saying, you're all going to die, right? And Cyrano takes it like a champ, like he always does, and he thanks De Guiche. He actually says, thank you for giving us the honor to die in glory, right? And so all of the guys are getting ready for battle, and Christian comes over and tells Cyrano, like, man, I really wish I could have said goodbye to Roxanne. And Cyrano pulls out this letter that he actually wrote to Roxanne, kind of saying farewell, and he gives it to Christian, and Christian looks at it and he can see that there are tear stains on the letter, and Christian kind of starts to get a weird feeling, like, does he love her? But he doesn't say anything, right? And then so he says thank you, and he puts it in his pocket, and then wouldn't you know who shows up? Roxanne, right? Accompanied by Ragueneau, and they have this huge feast for the soldiers. Okay, so while the soldiers are super grateful for the food and they're like mowing down, they're also like, yo, Roxanne, you guys got to get out of here. Like, we're going to go into battle any minute, right? Like within an hour. And she's like, I don't want to go. This war's been going on too long. I needed to see you. I love you. And it's funny because they like hide the feast from De Guiche when he shows up. And so De Guiche does show up, and he says, well, if Roxanne's going to stay for the battle, then I'll stay and fight as well. Again, coming back to that principles kind of theme, he doesn't have very high integrity, right? He looks out for himself. He's a coward, and we see that a lot in Act 4. Okay. So, um, the guys are like, cool, whatever, you can stay. That, like, maybe you actually are worth your weight if you're going to stay and fight in this deadly battle. And Cyrano actually pulls Christian aside and is like, yo, dude, I may have written to Roxanne more than you realized. So she's going to mention some letters that, like, you didn't know I sent. And Christian again gets this weird feeling like, dude, do you have feelings for her? And Christian doesn't actually say it, but he just, again, you can see on his face that he's like, something fishy's going on here, right? So Christian and Roxanne go off and chat, and he's like, why did you, like, risk your life to come see me? And she's like, oh my gosh, your letters just drove me crazy. Like, I just love you so much. I admit, like, when I first, quote unquote, fell in love with you, it was all about your looks. But after all of these letters you've been, like, sending me, I'm in love with your soul now too. And this just really breaks Christian's heart, because he knows he did not write those letters. So the person that Roxanne is falling in love with is not Christian. Okay. And so as he realizes what's kind of happened here, he sends Roxanne off to go, like, talk to the other cadets and try and cheer him up before this battle. And he goes over to Cyrano and is like, dude, Roxanne doesn't love me. She loves you, right? And he's like, what? No. And he's like, yeah, she does. She said she loves my soul, and that soul is conveyed through those letters. And then he does accuse Cyrano. He's like, you love her. And Cyrano admits it. He's like, yes, I do. And so Christian's like, well, you have to tell her, and she's got to choose between us, because, like, we got to figure this out. And then Christian runs off to, like, go be with the other guards. So Cyrano asks Roxanne, could you really love Christian if he were ugly? Because she had said that to Christian when she said, I fell in love with your soul. Like, I first loved you for your looks, but now it wouldn't even matter if you were ugly. Like, I love you, no matter what. And she says, yes, I could totally love Christian if he was ugly. Like, it wouldn't matter. And Cyrano's really, really excited, and he's just about to tell her, I'm the one that's writing those letters. And in comes a bunch of the cadets with Christian's body. He's been shot and he's dying. So as the rest of the men run off, right, run off to go into battle, Roxanne's standing over Christian and she's just bawling, right? She's so upset. And Cyrano knows, like, at this point, I can never tell her that it was me, right? Because, like, her husband is dying right in front of him. So he whispers into Christian's ear, like, I told her and she picked you. And then Christian dies. And, like, that's just, yeah, he's dead. And so Roxanne's all torn up, and she found that farewell letter, and that is, like, she's just like, I'm going to hold on to this until my dying day. Okay. And then as she is weeping over Christian's body, Cyrano essentially says, now I've got two deaths to avenge, my Christian's and my own, because he feels like he has been killed of the heart by what has just happened, because he was so close to being able to tell Roxanne that he loved her, and once again it was foiled. And that, my friends, is the end of Act 4.